Yo, hey yo, it's your boy Mark back again. I wasn't expecting to do that, but hey, the energy got me, so all I gotta do is express it, let it flow. But that being said, this is gonna be a quick one. I definitely don't have anything super planned as far as the structure for this, but I just felt really called to come talk to y'all about this and share this. And yeah, I didn't want it to become this thing that I had to wait really long as I, try to super curate it and do all these things. So I was just like, you know what? While I'm out here, I'm gonna just press record and just start talking, and then yeah. But that being said, so I just felt really called to come talk to y'all about some of the tools that have been very far-reaching in my own journey of self-exploration and becoming, and just all that, especially in the very beginning of my journey. But yeah, three tools in particular. Hey, we can just get right into it. The first one being astrology. Yeah, if you're here watching these type of videos, you're probably already kind of at least a little bit versed in astrology. But yeah, that's a really big one. And if you're somebody who's like, oh, astrology is a bunch of phooey, then chances are, for me, when I hear that, I typically feel like, okay, they just know sun signs and horoscopes and like social media astrology and stuff like that. And that's understandable. I can get that. Those are typically very general, and there's so much more, and we're all so multidimensional that sun signs could never just sum up anybody. But that being said, astrology was like step one and like the biggest thing that launched me to where I am today, I'd say for sure. Yeah, discovering my birth chart back in like the end of 2018. Yeah, an ex-girlfriend of mine exposed me to my birth chart and astrology. And yeah, it was so eye-opening to me, because before that point, like, I don't know, I didn't really know, nature versus nurture. I knew that as far as just like the difference between people. But outside of like that, and just, like, I just didn't know where I started and stopped versus where like the typical human experience started and stopped, and other people started and stopped. Like, it was kind of just like things just felt random, and I knew things that mattered to me, but I didn't know how much of it was hyper specifically me versus stuff everybody worries about, everybody's callings versus my callings, and just those things. For me, it was kind of like a mix of just things being random and things being a product of, upbringing and like those type of things, and conditioning and stuff like that. And even conditioning wasn't even a word I had at that point, but just more so just like, this is how I was raised, or these were my experiences, or these were my trials. But astrology really, my birth chart specifically, seeing just all the placements and reading and seeing how everything was really me, it was like reading about myself in black and white, like reading a book or reading paragraphs that were literally telling me about myself and that were resonating so deeply. And I was just like, wow, okay, so I'm super hyper specifically me, like all the way down to the most minute detail me. Like, that was very empowering, one, and it was also just eye-opening, and also like a breath of fresh air. It was like, okay, like, this is me, like 1,000%, and who I am is highly curated to be me. It's like, just like everybody else is as well, if they allow themselves to be and really own that fact that we're all so different. Because it's like, I felt very different and I felt hyper specifically me, but I don't know, you look around and everybody's doing the same things. Everybody feels like they have the same callings, riding the same waves, so comfortable, in the rat race, and just so assimilated and adapted to society, and just all the things that felt wrong to me, that felt like I was having to force myself to just be in alignment to the things that everybody else appeared to be so naturally and easily adapted to and able to, show up for and give themselves to. Meanwhile, I was like, damn, this doesn't work for me, or I'm having a hard time just doing this thing, or just, falling in line and just, being an upstanding member of society, and living life and doing the life game as you're supposed to do it, you know. But astrology really opened my eyes and gave me that validation that wasn't necessarily in position to give myself, you know, because it's like, okay, yeah, I can feel like I'm right and I can feel all these things so strongly, but at the point where everybody else is on the same page, it's kind of hard to just be like, oh well, that's y'all, like without any type of anything, you know, without questioning yourself, because it's like, well, at least me, like, let me not generalize, just me, I wasn't at a position to do that. And yeah, just growing up, I feel like I wasn't really empowered to just trust my own steps and trust my own way of seeing things. It's kind of always like, yeah, it always felt like I had to look up. I had to look up the chain, like whether it be to my parents or to my teachers, or no matter how I felt, it was kind of just like, well, this is how I feel, but this is what they're saying. Oh, this is what I think, but yep, they're telling me to do this thing. And it's like, yeah, and especially like growing up for a long time, it took a while before I realized, you know, that parents aren't these specifically or divinely ordained people to raise kids. You know, they're kids who had kids, and teachers are kids with jobs, you know, it's a job like any other. But I feel like growing up, for me, it was kind of like, okay, parents are these people hand selected by God, by the divine, to raise children, and teachers are like, you know, were these specially trained and particular people to raise children up and to teach children. But it's like now I see, it's like, you know, as my peers are teachers, as my peers are parents, and just all that, it's like I just know more and I can see the scope of, like, you know, they're just people as well, and they are a product of their conditioning, they're a product of the things that they've learned, and just all those things. But yeah, astrology really gave me that validation as far as like, nah, you're you for a reason. Like, you're exactly where you're supposed to be, and how you show up is how you're supposed to show up. And the things, you know, that call to you or calling to you, like, it was easy to now validate those things for myself now that it's kind of like, that was the first step in like, okay, like, I'm me and I have a responsibility to be me, and I'm valid in being me because look, this is who I am. And it's like, it's not just me saying, it's like, read this piece of paper. Yeah, I just put some information in and it's saying the same things I've been saying. It's telling my story in black and white, some of the experiences I've had, and just all that just on paper. And it was just like, wow, like, this is powerful. This is powerful stuff. Like, why did I not already know this? And yeah, and with me, anything that I get into is I'm gonna be fully immersed in it. So I was big into astrology and reading my birth chart and all the signs and different apps, like so many different apps from different perspectives and stuff. Some of which I still use to this day. Like, it depends on, as far as my recommendations for apps, it just depends on what you want and what type of person you are. Because, for example, Time Passages is a really good one, but it's also really, really in depth. Like, each placement will have a bunch of paragraphs, and then you can dive into even like the daily horoscopes and stuff. It's like transits with a bunch of paragraphs from aspects, and it's just a lot. So if you're not somebody who wants to dive to those depths, I wouldn't recommend Time Passages. But if you are somebody who enjoys all that information and the reading and just really getting the full scope and really understanding it all at like all the way to the minute details and the whole thing, then yes, Time Passages is definitely the app for you, and I would definitely recommend it for sure. But if you're somebody who just wants, you know, smaller things and something that's more digestible, then Nebula is a good one. I don't use it so much anymore. I used to use it. I feel like it kind of went downhill as far as just what it has, and it started to feel, I don't know, like AI to me, like it was just being generated type. But yeah, so I don't really use that one anymore. But the Pattern is another really good one, and that's one that I started using in the beginning and I still use to this day. Like, no matter what, that stays on my phone, no matter how many things I clear off for storage, the Pattern stays. And it's always been so accurate, like scary accurate. And like in the beginning, they weren't even like having at the forefront that it was astrology that was based on. They were just kind of giving the information and, you know, giving different cycles and patterns and dynamics and things like that. But now, at this point, it gives you like what it's based on. It's very much an astrology-centered app now. So it's like the perfect time to get on there if you were interested. But yeah, the Pattern's a really, really good one, and that's one I always introduce people to, and they're always so shook. And then you can run like bonds on there and see like connections between you and others and even famous people. And that's been really cool because I've run the bonds with like artists that I love musically, because you can run it with notable people versus and as well as people you know. And like for Mac Miller, for example, he's someone that I've always felt very, very bonded to. Like when he died, I cried, and I don't cry at celebrity deaths or anything like that. But he's truly like a big brother to me, and like, but yeah, so I ran a bond with him on there, and it came back saying life changing and like all these things. I'm like, yeah, like that's how it feels, honestly. So yeah, it goes so deep. And then I, just to even counteract it, I ran it with like artists I don't like, on artists that, not that I just don't like, but that just don't resonate with me. Like I'm like, okay, yeah, they're cool, but it's just like, I don't know, like they just don't stick with me. Like I won't say their music's not good. It's just, there's just something, there's not that resonance there. And I did that, and it was like, it would come back, those same type of results. It wouldn't say life changing. It would have like very little, and like show like the dissonance would be readable. Like it'd be there. And I'm like, yeah, that sounds about right. So yeah, the pattern's a really, really good one. Just even if you just use it for yourself and that's it, like there's so much exploring to do. And yeah, on a day-to-day basis, you can go and see like the different cycles and patterns that you find yourself in, and it'll have this date to that date. And it's always so aligned, honestly. Like I can't even explain it enough. Like I could do a whole video alone on the pattern. But yeah, that's a really good one. So let me see. But yeah, I don't want to get too hung up on it. This is supposed to be a quick video. So yeah, as I post, I'll if anything else comes to mind or anything else, I'm like, oh no, use this, then I'll just put it in the description, so you can just kind of go down there and get all of these there. But yeah, so astrology is definitely a good one. And I know there's different kinds of astrology, like tropical versus sidereal, and like even more than that, I think like Verdict, and there's so many. But yeah, I would say just get in there. Start with tropical. I know some people don't really subscribe to it because, it's based on like a fixed point of where things used to be. I'm not even entirely, so don't completely quote me, but I know sidereal is more, it's like where everything is now, because the earth is always moving and like its axis is changed and stuff like that. So I think sidereal is more in tune to where everything is now, while tropical is more so it's like where it was been before. But with anything, collective energies really does a lot. So the fact that a lot of people subscribe to tropical and a lot of the collective use it, and all that it definitely has its place still, and it definitely still plays out, and it's very, very accurate. But yeah, I won't get into quantum or get into all that so much. But yeah, so I would say start with tropical, start with sidereal, start wherever you feel called to start. But yeah, the biggest thing you're gonna need for that, and with all of these, honestly, is your birth time. If you don't have it, or you don't have a way to get it, you can still get all these things, but the way to get the most accurate is to have your birth time, because your birth time, it uses your birth time, where you were born, your birthday and all that, because it really is a snapshot of where everything was, all the planets and the bodies and the celestial bodies were at the very moment that you were born, because think about it, that's a very big moment, that's coming through a portal. You came through, you were in the body, you're coming, the spirit in the body coming through, and now you're on the planet. Like that's a very big moment, and even that moment is hyper specifically you, that's when you came, that's when your journey here officially started. So it's like where everything was at that moment is very important. And yeah, a lot of these things, these tools, or all the tools I'm speaking of, definitely use it in some way, shape, or form. So yeah, if you can, definitely get your birth time if you don't know it off the top of your head. Like ask your parents. I know birth certificates have it on there, especially if you're old enough. I know recently, or more now, they don't really include the birth time on there. I wonder why. But yeah, you can definitely find them on those places, or you can call the hospital you were born at or look in there. They keep records of that stuff. Yeah, for me, I got it from my dad, which is wild because I wasn't expecting him to know it. I asked my mom. She was like, well, I don't know that. And I was like, dang. So I thought I was cooked. And then I checked, I looked into the hospital, like, all right, let me see the hospital I was born at. And then I found out the hospital I was born at has been abandoned for years. And I was like, oh my God, like, that's wild. And like abandoned, not just closed down, but abandoned, literally abandoned, like it stands and all that. And then, yeah, like I asked my dad, it's like a last ditch effort. Like I didn't expect my dad to know. At the point my mom doesn't know, like my dad's not gonna know, but he was proud. He was like, oh, yep. And he told me with a smile on his face, and you could hear it in his voice, like he was proud to have remembered and known that. And yeah, that was really, really big. And yeah, and from there, I got my birth chart. So yeah, definitely get your birth time and go definitely tap in with your birth chart. So yeah, astrology was the biggest thing. Astrology led to everything. So I'm always quick to tell people about that because everything that unfolded from there is literally the only reason we're having this conversation. And it's been so much since then. So yeah, definitely start there. Next though, is numerology. And yeah, because once I got my birth chart and astrology was so accurate, I was like, whoa, what else is there? You know, like what else can I dive into to kind of learn myself and see myself from different perspectives? So numerology was the next thing. And yeah, whether you believe, you know, all this is real or we live in a simulation or the matrix or whatever, what's undisputable is that numbers play a big role in this world. And there's a lot of information, a lot of symbolism and all that in numbers. And that can be seen everywhere, just in everything, in the pyramids and so much. So yeah, numerology is another big one, and that uses like your name, it uses where you were born, it uses a bunch of things, and it really just gives you a bunch of numbers. You're like your life path number, your personality number, your soul urge number, like a bunch of numbers. And yeah, they're so telling, and that was so accurate as well. I think there's an app just called Numerology app, and there's a few things. That's one I don't typically like. I'm like, oh, I'm not on that as much. There is one. There was that one. I'm pretty sure it's called Numerology app. But like I said, I'll put all this stuff in the description as I kind of go in and do due diligence and then post this. But yeah, numerology is a big one. And I don't really have a bunch of like soliloquies or stories about that, but it's definitely a big one. And I don't want that to be underestimated because of how long I spent on astrology versus numerology, because it's been just as important, and I use them very much in tandem, especially in the beginning. And to this day, I always find myself going back and re-downloading numerology apps and kind of refreshing and diving back in there, and I'm always like, oh man, that's right, there is so much here, and it really is like that. So yeah, there's so much, because then it goes into like the day-by-day numbers, the numbers of the year, as far as the numerology of the day, the numerology of the year we're in, the numerology of the month, like anything. And it's like, it's so extensive and so expansive. But yeah, that's another big one. But yeah, I'll leave that one alone, rather than trying to stretch it and kind of come up with things to talk about. But yeah, and the last one, which is certainly not least, is human design. Oh my goodness, human design was another big game changer. And I came to that one a couple years after astrology. And that one was like, it was kind of the same thing as like astrology. It's like, whoa, why have I not always had this? And it was even more profound than astrology was, because I feel like astrology, yeah, told me a lot about myself, but human design itself comes with so many strategies and so many ways of doing things and perspectives, and like understanding your energy type and how to best utilize your energy and how to best utilize your life force and to bring things in for yourself, but also take care of yourself. And like, it's so important. And that's another one I talk about a lot, especially now, like, because I feel like most people know about their birth charts and astrology, especially people in these who find themselves in these arenas. But human design is something that I never see just come up. So I'm always like advocating for human design, like, oh yeah, definitely go find out your energy type, go find out, there's so much. But yeah, human design, like for example, one of the things that I have discovered through human design was just, well, my energy type is a manifester, so my biggest thing is initiating and starting things and allowing myself to go in directions and following my urges, but also leaving room for the urges and not just doing a bunch of things or just following a bunch of pre-made paths or anything like that. It talks a lot about like getting the spark, acting on it, but also leaving lots of room for rest, because through that rest, you create room and space for the next spark to come in, and then you take advantage of that spark, not take advantage, but you work with that spark and you create again. And it's really that important dynamic between rest and action, and space and action, and stillness and action. And yeah, and also like really forging my own path and not being pushed this way or that way by others, because that's not what I'm meant to do. And that's where I'll find myself feeling the most resistance. And that's definitely been my experience. When like I said, before astrology, it was kind of like, yo, like I'm trying to do all these things like everybody else is doing that they do so easily, and it just doesn't work for me, you know? It's like I see that I'm having a much harder time than they are. Like it's natural for them, even when they don't like it or even like it's whatever, but they're still able to do it in a way that, you know, it works for them. And just wasn't like that for me. And that was one thing that human design confirmed for me. Another thing was it was even talked about like how I'm meant to rest during the day, and how I'll have more ease of flow when it comes to work and things when it comes to at night. And that's been my experience as well too. It's like I've tried to, you know, like be like everybody else, you know, sleep through the night and wake up early and do all those things and do my things during the day and then wind down at night. But it's like that's just doesn't work for me, honestly. It's like I experience so much more flow at night, and even being out in the sun and doing things that it drains me, it charges me, but it also makes me want to rest. Like to be out in the sun and just be moving around doing a bunch of things feels wrong. It's like as the sun's on me, it's like I just want to lay in it and just recover, rest and chill. And then it's like literally as it starts to go down, I feel like not my energy rise, but like I feel the energy come forth to be used. As the sun goes down and the night comes out, it's like, okay, like, yeah, now I can go use all the energy that I charge it up, you know? But to do a bunch of stuff during the day, I always experience a bunch of resistance, especially if I don't just keep it light and allow like flow during the day, trying to force things during the day. It's like, no, there's no chance. But yeah, that was another thing that human design confirmed for me. And also not even just working, but it's like consuming anything like out of the light, like in darkness. And I'm like, damn, that's exactly who I am. Like I find myself like, as dark as things can be, that's fine. Like I'll turn off the light in the bathroom and just have my phone light, flashlight reflecting off the ceiling to shower, or I'll literally eat in the dark if I can see a little bit. Like it's just like I find so much doing things and like hey, literally consuming things and just doing things in the dark much more flow than like all the light on me. And yeah, but the only thing that light I feel good doing in light is like really resting and chilling and like not doing much for real. So that was another thing that human design was like, yep. And I was reading, I'm like, yeah, that's definitely me. And there's just a bunch of examples like that with human design. And it's like real practical things, you know, like those are things that I can go put into practice and go do and, you know, like really take advantage of my energy. And it's like your energy is what you have to create your whole life, and work is what you have, is your magic, is the source for you. So it's like getting tools to best utilize your energy and finding out your energy type and how it's meant to flow and how you're meant to work with it is everything, especially in manifestation and creating a life for yourself and all that. So human design was really, really big. Yeah, I don't want to spend too much time trying to kind of remember. And yeah, it even talk about like manifestation type, like specific versus non-specific. Like for some people, their way of manifesting is to like really, really get hyper specific on things and see it so clearly and write it down exactly, and that's how they manifest best. And for others, it's like non-specific. It's like more so getting clear on the feelings and what it feels like and what you want in general, and just really allowing that to create itself and come in. It's like, so even something like that, because you know there's tools and people say, oh, write these lists a million times, but it's like if your style is non-specific, you're gonna need to know that as you're writing these lists. You know, you might not write, oh, I want a 3-bedroom house in this city on this type of thing with this type of color. You know, if your thing is non-specific, you might just I want a house that feels like home to me, that feels like a sanctuary, you know, something real general, but like it captures the essence of it. And then that'll be your tool to manifest. But yeah, there's a bunch of things like that. But human design is a really, really big one. So yeah, if you are hip to astrology and you're very versed in numerology but never explored human design, that's why you're here. Because it's like, okay, you're being called to go check out human design, because that's huge. But yeah, like with the other ones, I'll put any resources and specifics that come to mind when it comes to that in the description. But yeah, because I know with human design, there was apps I liked, but a lot of them are behind like a paywall, so they'll give you like really basic stuff and then you have to pay for the rest. So I don't typically use those, but I know there's definitely sites where that'll give you a whole chart, like the whole thing. So yeah, definitely take advantage of what is in the bio. Like I don't know what's there as of right now, but what's in the description. But yeah, if you need more, yo, just Google. Like there's so many resources. And even if one doesn't work for you, like just that exposure to it will go a long way, and try another one after that. But yeah, let this be fun and explore, because like I said, these are self-exploration tools. Like if you're trying to fast track and take shortcuts to explore yourself, like you're already out of alignment, you're already not in the right energy to be even working with these things. So enjoy the process of the self-exploration. Like you should be excited, like, oh wow, like these are tools, like let me see what I can find, because the ones that you might like might be ones that I've never tried or just weren't for me. So yeah, definitely don't even limit yourself to the ones I described. Just allow that to be a starting point, like a point of reference, and then you can go from there, and continue to tap in with other ones as you can see like what you need and what is, what feels right to you. But yeah, astrology, birth chart, not just sun sign and horoscopes, but the full thing, numerology, and human design. Those are the three, and there's more. There's a million tools out there, but I feel like those are the biggest ones that come to mind, and the biggest ones that, yeah, I'd say to start with. If you haven't started anywhere, definitely start with those three. But hell yeah, I think that's everything as far as I need to say. I hope y'all feel the energy as I talk about them, and yeah, the rest is up to you. So definitely happy exploring, and I love y'all so much, man. And yeah, I'm always excited to get more downloads and more calls to come talk to y'all and create things for y'all, because yeah, this is such a divine space and position to be in. And yeah, I'm just committed to continue to do the work and to continue to be living proof, and also, share the things. Cause I'm not a gatekeeper at all. Like anything I utilize, anything I come across, y'all can have in full force, like it doesn't matter. But yeah, that being said, I love y'all. I'm gonna get back to living, living proof, living the proof, So yeah, I'm gonna get back to it, and I'll be back to y'all as I continue to get calls and continue to discover things and all that. So hell yeah, y'all keep exploring and keep diving into those depths, man. The more connected you get to yourself, the more connected you get to all this, because there is no separation. Oneness is the real truth, and it's the only truth. So hell yeah, keep diving in and know that you're doing divine work. And the more you free yourself, the more you free all of us. So yeah, I thank you. The collective thanks you. The planet thanks you. The universe thanks you. So yeah, I love y'all, and I'll see y'all soon. Hey.